A chilling discovery in a Florida ditch clues police into a brutal crime.
There's a decomposing body in a ditch.
He had been stabbed more than 40 times.
It's possible that our victim wasn't even able to scream.
Did a former flame become deadly?
You know who the girl was?
I don't even know who she was.
Or did a secret double life spiral out of control?
She had a criminal history. She was involved in narcotics and things of that nature.
She had been cheating on him.
She went over to dude's house, hung out with him.
That car was set on fire. It was completely destroyed.
There's nowhere to run now.
Go ahead, step out for me.
She turned on him 100%.
She was tired of the lies.
The contempt, the deception, the lack of trust all led to this deadly recipe.
August 12th, 2020, Geneva, Florida. It's a calm, tropical afternoon in the lush landscape of Seminole County.
Geneva is really close to Orlando. It's about 30 minutes north. It's more rural, and so there are less people, less attractions.
There are areas that are wooded and secluded. It's kind of reminds you like when people think of the country.
But at 3:20 p.m., a chilling call sends shockwaves through the county sheriff's office.
A man was walking in the area of Settlers Loop in Geneva when he made a startling discovery.
911, police, fire, medical.
Police, Settlers Loop. There's a decomposing body in the ditch.
There's a body in the ditch decomposing.
Correct. It looks like maybe an African-American naked body.
When police arrive at the scene, it's just as the caller described.
They find an unidentified black male on the side of the road in early stages of decomposition, without any clothing, disposed like garbage.
It's clear the victim suffered a violent death.
He had been stabbed more than 40 times, all over his body, including his head.
So the level of aggression and the level of violence in this case is a telltale sign that it's a crime of passion. It's somebody knows this person, and they want to make sure this person is dead.
But who is he?
The victim was nude, and there was no ID.
If the suspect has time, they tend to get rid of the victim's cell phone, the murder weapon, whether it's a gun, a knife, a blunt instrument. So we never found the knife.
It was just the body. That's all police had to go on.
So investigators decide to run a fingerprint analysis.
When you have somebody with no identification on them, no identifiable tattoos at that time due to the early stages of decomposition, and you want to identify your victim very quickly, fingerprints would be the best way to do it. It's the quickest method.
And when police run the prints, they immediately get a hit.
It was at this time that they were able to determine the victim was 30-year-old Joel Cosby.
Joel Rashad Cosby was known by loved ones as a sharp-witted family man.
He was one of the funniest people ever, whether it was dancing or singing or telling a joke. Joel was always the person to make everybody laugh.
He was real tall, so we'll play basketball. Of course, he'll show out and joke on me, or dunk over my head or stuff like that. He was definitely a jokester.
In fact, Joel was a man of many talents.
He did love music. He did rap, actually. He did love to rap.
He could be rapping to his sister. It'll be funny and it'll rhyme at the same time. That was one hell of a combination.
But nothing was more important to Joel than being a father.
In 2015, Joel's girlfriend, Jasmine, gave birth to their daughter, Jelani.
When he held her, it was different. He did not put her down, like, the entire time that he was in the hospital with her.
He overly loved her. Very hands-on.
She looked just like him. I mean, it was a beautiful thing.
However, the union between Joelle and Jelani's mother, Jasmine, wasn't meant to last.
It wasn't one of those things like, you know, I don't love you, I don't want to be with you. It's just my life is not where your life is.
So Jasmine basically ended that relationship, but the two ended in good terms and were still close.
At some point, it just didn't work out, but he wanted to be a good dad to his daughter. So they just co-parented together and remained friends.
In the meantime, Joelle took a job at a local car dealership to help provide for Jelani.
We worked there for a while. We was doing detailing work, and we started doing outside of work. Some customers or friends of ours will like start doing detailing their cars.
When he wasn't busy working or spending time with his daughter, Joelle dipped his toes back into the dating pool. And that's when he met Jade Caparelli.
Early 2016 is when she started to pop up.
He always been somewhat of a ladies' man.
Had an amazing time.
I did too. Literally, all of the girls were so attracted to him.
However, Jade seemed like more than just a fling.
They connected over the fact that they were both parents.
Jade had 2 children, a girl and a boy.
Eventually, their relationship grew into something really passionate.
But 5 years later, Joelle has been identified as the John Doe stabbed and discarded in Geneva, just 9 miles from his home.
Based on the crime scene, they surmised that he was killed elsewhere.
He was stabbed over 45 times, so the person's going to bleed. They're going to bleed a lot, but it was a noted lack of blood around the body.
He was nude, there was no weapon they could find, and there was no blood at the scene. They have no clues to even start this investigation.
As CSI continues processing the crime scene, detectives prepare to deliver the tragic news to Joelle's loved ones.
That was the worst day of my life. And I lost it.
I'm so sorry.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
My body got cold. It's just a feeling like you're so torn and broken, like, wow, this can't be real.
Unfortunately, Joelle's family has no idea who could have done this.
Is there any reason he would have been in the Geneva area?
They didn't really have any ties to that area specifically, like, at all. They didn't have, a prior address there or had a friend or anything like that.
You don't mess with nobody. I keep saying he's a clown. It was never nothing, no serious, no guns, none of that.
He seemed like a good guy and did not have any enemies, and so they couldn't imagine who would want to harm him.
Can you tell me about the last time you spoke with Joel?
The last time his family had seen him was about 1 week earlier.
He's known for, I'm gonna come over and then I probably see y'all in 3 days, 4 days, but I'm okay. That was normal.
His mother is able to tell the police that she had seen her son on Sunday, August 9th, around 9:30 p.m.
Joel was in the Midway area. He had visited his mother. He was eating dinner over at her house.
He stayed for about an hour just conversing with his mother and then left around 10:30 p.m.
Don't forget to call me when you get
I will. Love you.
All right, baby. Love you.
But it's who he left with that makes detectives' ears perk up.
As her son was leaving, she was able to look into the car and she saw his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Jade, sitting in the driver's seat.
I never thought she was good enough for my son.
After becoming a father and setting off on a new path for himself, 30-year-old Joel Cosby had found a kindred spirit in Jade Caparelli.
Joel and Jade hit it off. She was also a parent.
Joel was still very active in his daughter's life from his previous relationship.
He was definitely a funny, hands-on dad.
But now Joel has been the victim of a brutal stabbing. And in speaking with his mother, it seems Jade Caparelli may have been the last person to see him alive.
Joel's mom recalls seeing him get into a white Dodge vehicle.
As her son was leaving, she was able to look into the car and she saw his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Jade, sitting in the driver's seat.
According to Joel's family, Jade is nothing but trouble.
I always thought that she was not good enough for my son.
His mother was one of the first people. She's like, I don't like her.
Jade had a criminal history. She was involved in narcotics and things of that nature. Joel's family knew of Joel and Jade's relationship. They described it as toxic. You know, the way they spoke to each other and arguing and things like that.
What's your problem now, Jade?
No, I know you're lying.
Lying about what?
They would talk and then they wouldn't talk. They would block each other. They would not speak. They would be back together.
You know what? I'm done with this, man. You're crazy.
After learning about Joel's rocky relationship with Jade, detectives are eager to speak with her, but she's not easy to get a hold of.
We got her phone number and tried different addresses and finally were able to get in touch with her.
She agrees to meet them at the station for an interview.
We're here in reference to, as you're aware of, the death of Joel Cosby. Raise your right hand for me. You swear that everything you tell me today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Detectives begin the interview by asking Jade about her relationship with Joel.
Me and Joel have been on and off for like 5 years. I love him.
But she admits the relationship had its issues.
He's left a few times and got involved with like another girl.
Do you know who the girl was?
There was another little white girl. I don't even know who she was.
Jade also told investigators that Joel was still close with his child's mother, Jasmine.
However, despite their ups and downs, Jade says she and Joel always came back together.
She says they'd recently gotten closer than ever.
In fact, she says they even went apartment hunting last week.
We were looking for a place, so he was looking.
Okay. When was the last time you guys were together?
This weekend.
What day?
Sunday. Sunday's the last time.
Okay, tell me about that day.
Jade says she and Joel hung out all afternoon, and she dropped him off at his mom's house around 9:30 p.m.
Did you ever go to his mom's house?
No, I didn't go in there and speak to her or anything.
While Joel was eating dinner with his mom, Jade went to run some errands.
She confirms that she picked Joel up from his mom's house around 11 p.m.
Jade says after that, she drove Joel to his home and left him there.
You left him at the house?
Yes. He went inside.
You leave him around midnight, somewhere, give or take?
Yeah.
Drive straight home?
Yes, I went straight home.
Jade said when she tried calling Joel the next morning, she didn't get an answer.
What time did you call him next day?
I called him probably around 5, 6.
In the morning or p.m.?
No, in the morning when I got up.
Okay. What are you up so early?
I usually can't sleep very much, to be honest.
But when detectives ask Jade what happened next, she makes a shocking admission.
She met up with another man on Monday.
And you immediately went the absolute next day, the next morning, Monday morning.
Another dude.
Joel's death was very tragic. Of course, you don't think about your loved one not being here, and especially in a way like that. It's a lot trying to deal with your emotions and everything that's going on with you physically and health-wise, then trying to control your emotions in your heart with having such a catastrophic loss, and then it being someone that you were so close to and someone that even to this day it's just hard to come to terms with it.
Seminole County detectives investigating the stabbing death of beloved 30-year-old father Joel Cosby are speaking with his girlfriend, Jade Caparelli.
The Monday after Joel went missing, she met up with another man.
Who immediately went the absolute next day, the next morning, Monday morning.
It was her ex-boyfriend, Marvin Bryant.
What's your relationship with Marvin? Is it still intimate?
Not really. No.
Not really, or no, or yes?
No.
Jade explains that Marvin is the father of one of her children, and they still maintain a friendly co-parenting relationship.
So you get up next morning and you drive back to Marvin's house in Orlando. Where does he live in Orlando?
He lives in Apopka.
Detectives are now wondering if Marvin had an axe to grind with Joel. Is this a love triangle situation?
What does Marvin think of Joel?
He doesn't really know Joel to think of it.
Did they ever talk?
They don't talk to each other.
Jade insists Marvin would never hurt Joel.
So he's a good guy?
Yeah, he's very good.
And even when Jade was at Marvin's, she says she was still trying to get a hold of Joel.
She claims she continued trying to reach out to Joel in the following days.
Keep trying?
I called.
Did you ever think about reporting him missing?
Well, no, he did that all the time. Joel went back and forth all the time.
I get that.
Jade is getting more and more frustrated as police press her for answers.
I'm trying my best to tell you whatever you want to know and tell you the truth. Like, I love Joel.
At that point, Jade ends the interview.
Let me get an attorney, please.
I'm not doing this with you guys.
Investigators are still very suspicious of Jade and her story, but they have nothing to hold her on.
You're free to go, but we will see you again, and it's not going to be as pleasant.
Once Jade leaves, detectives are eager to speak with her ex, Marvin Bryant. But before they can make a move, Marvin shows up on his own.
On Saturday, August 15th, Marvin Bryant walks into the Seminole County Sheriff's Office stating that he believes that he is the prime suspect in a murder case.
That doesn't happen every day. You don't have somebody coming into the police station saying stuff like that.
You came in and told the deputy you're the prime suspect in a homicide. What was that all about?
I thought it was, man. Somebody dies. She told me her friend died. Well, I'm just a little scared.
With no prior criminal history, Marvin wanted to make sure his name wasn't being dragged into something it shouldn't be.
He talked to Jade, and he felt that, well, maybe he should give a statement too, to try to maybe absolve him of any suspicion.
Who did she tell you died?
The dude she was dating while we were broke up.
He says at the 5-year mark, they broke up for about a year.
But unlike Jade's statement, he says they are still in a relationship.
And that he lives with Jade and their children in Deltona.
Why would she tell us you live in Apopka? Why would she say that?
I'm not sure about that.
At that time, detectives realized that these three are in a love triangle. Jade has been dating them both.
Detectives let Marvin know that Jade has said that she actually saw Joel that weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what she told us. She went over dude's house that died. Hung out with him. Now, I know it sucks.
This makes Marvin visibly upset.
One can only speculate what Marvin Bryant was thinking at this time. He has to feel betrayed by Jade, his girlfriend of 10 years.
Detectives redirect their line of questioning to the Monday after Joel went missing.
Okay. Monday, what happened? Y'all stay home all day?
Pretty much. Well, I mean, we probably ran errands again.
Together?
Walmart, like that.
That's when detectives notice something about Marvin's hands.
Okay, let me stop real quick.
Detectives notice Marvin Bryant has cuts on both of his hands.
Police realize that this may be signs of a struggle.
Detectives investigating the murder of 30-year-old Joel Cosby have just learned he was involved in a love triangle with his girlfriend, Jade Caparelli, and Jade's other boyfriend, Marvin Bryant.
In speaking with Marvin, they noticed some suspicious cuts on his hands.
He just tried to like slough it off like they weren't there. But there were multiple healing cuts on different areas of his hands.
What you're telling me, I know is not truthful. I'm gonna tell you straight up, it's not truthful.
Honestly, I don't want nothing to do with it because this looks real bad on me now.
Given that the victim was stabbed, 40 plus times, your hand can slip down and actually get cut on the blade yourself.
But when they press him on it, Marvin ends the interview.
Look, okay, I'm gonna have to ask for a lawyer now.
Okay.
However, investigators have what they need to obtain a search warrant for the home Marvin shares with Jade.
When we conducted the search warrant at the house, there wasn't really anything of evidentiary value within that house.
But outside the home is a different story.
Immediately, they pick up on some suspicious things.
We saw that fresh red mulch had been spread around a couple different planter areas.
Detectives also noticed in the driveway there was one spot in particular that looked cleaner than the surrounding driveway, as if it had been pressure washed.
And the final red flag? Marvin's car appears to be missing.
His car is nowhere to be found. Marvin now claims it was stolen.
I think Marvin thought, I'll report it stolen, and that way I'm not looked at as a suspect because I'm a victim of a vehicle theft.
Detectives think there's more to the story. They issue an APB for the vehicle, a white Ford Mustang.
I want every patrol unit keeping an eye out for that vehicle.
And before long, they get a hit.
That car was set on fire over in Lake County. It was completely destroyed. It was burned to the ground.
Which means any potential evidence has been destroyed with it.
Police aren't able to pull any DNA or fingerprints or anything off of that car.
Regardless, investigators believe they're onto something. So they begin retracing Jade and Marvin's movements in the hours leading up to Joel's murder.
During Marvin's interview, he mentioned that he and Jade had ran some errands at Walmart.
So detectives decided to obtain that security video to see what the couple was doing in the store.
They see Jade and Marvin enter into the Walmart around 7:45 a.m. and make a beeline directly for the cleaning supplies.
They're buying a large amount of cleaning products, just various cleaning products, and 2 bags of red mulch.
Next, detectives get a warrant for the vehicle Jade was driving the night she picked Joel up from his mother's house.
Detectives have it towed back to their headquarters to get their CSI team to go through it.
You can spray luminol or Blue Star reagent in an area that you suspect may have some type of substance that could be reactive. So when you do that, it will glow a nice bright blue color.
Based on the test, there are clear signs of a cleanup inside the car.
They were able to recover blood DNA evidence out of the back seat of that vehicle.
Does the blood belong to Joel Cosby?
In order to figure out who this blood belonged to, investigators would have to send it off to a lab.
While detectives await the results, they pull phone records for Joel, Jade, and Marvin.
Phone records show Jade picking up Joel at his mother's house and then going to his house.
But they don't stop there.
Around midnight, his phone shows him traveling with Jade to the home she shared with Marvin in Deltona.
Jade said that the last time she saw Joel was when she dropped him off at home. She never mentioned anything about him coming over to her house that night.
During that same time, Marvin's phone is at the house in Deltona. Jade's phone then reunites and connects with Marvin's phone at her house. After that, Joel's phone essentially goes silent.
However, by 2 a.m., Marvin and Jade's phones keep moving.
Jade and Marvin's phone then travel together down 415 and several other areas within Volusia County and Seminole County.
The phones eventually land in Geneva, at the same spot Joel's body was found 2 days later.
There's now no question that Marvin and Jade are behind the murder.
And when the DNA results from the blood found in Jade's car come in, it confirms that assertion.
There was enough in the back seat to be able to positively identify that to our victim.
Now, at this point, investigators have enough evidence to get arrest warrants for both Jade and Marvin.
Let's bring them in.
Once we got the arrest warrants for both Marvin and Jade, we sent the crime suppression team in Deltona, which is a plainclothes tactical unit.
And it doesn't take long before the couple is spotted on the highway.
There's nowhere to run now.
Officers pull them over under the guise of a routine traffic stop.
Go ahead and step out for me, Jada.
On December 4th, 2020, investigators have moved in to arrest Marvin Bryant and Jade Caparelli for the murder of Jade's boyfriend, 30-year-old Joel Cosby.
Jada, go ahead and step out for me, Jada. Come back here with me. What's your full name?
Jade Caparelli.
All right.
Well, I'd like to know why I'm for arrested.
I'll explain to you in just a minute.
Are you Marvin?
They ordered them to get out so that they could arrest them and take them to jail. And those two are charged with first-degree murder.
What am I being arrested for? You think you're a fantastic job, everyone.
I kind of knew she had something to do with it or she done it. So it was a little justice for my family, even though they still was grieving.
After they were arrested, they didn't want to speak to us. They basically just asked for the lawyers, and that was really it.
However, in the days leading to trial, Jade has a change of heart.
Jade's attorney reached out to the state attorney's office and told them that she wanted to confess and wanted to come clean and see if there was anything that can be done for her case. So we obliged.
Prosecutors allowed Jade to plead guilty to a lesser charge of second-degree murder in exchange for a full confession and testifying against Marvin at trial.
She turned on him 100%.
She was tired of the lies. She was tired of nobody really knowing the truth or her side.
But when Jade sits down with prosecutors, the truth isn't what they expected.
Jade claims she's been a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Joel Cosby.
If there was anything in my phone, anybody else, that we were gonna fight, it was gonna be a fight. This guy was beating out of me on a regular basis.
But investigators are skeptical. By all accounts, Joel would never hurt a woman, and there are no reports backing Jade's claims.
We didn't have any documentation or any law enforcement reports in recent time that showed any type of violence between Jade and Joel.
Jade says that's because she tried to keep it all under wraps.
She says at first she didn't want to talk about it because she was embarrassed and afraid.
My mom suffered a lot of abuse when I was younger, and she told me not to let anybody do that to me. And I was too scared to call the cops because I sold drugs. I felt like I would have gotten in trouble.
She also didn't want to tell Marvin because Marvin did not know she was in a relationship with Joel, and she would have to admit that she had been cheating on him.
But Jade claims eventually she could no longer hide it.
What happened?
I'm fine. It got really bad one time where Joel actually hit me in my face, punched me. I came home and told a whole lie, but I ended up telling Marvin what happened. And he was just like, well, let me get at him, let me fight him.
Marvin, of course, is hearing Jade's side of the violence, and I think Marvin didn't like that she was still talking to Joel.
Here you are, as what is supposed to be a man, and you're living with this girl who you clearly see is with somebody else.
I'm sorry, I won't see him again.
But she couldn't stay away and continued two-timing both men.
So when Jade decided to get together with Joel on the night of the 9th, tensions were already running high.
She said after she dropped him off at home, they got into an argument because she didn't want to spend the night.
You really not gonna stay tonight?
I already told you I'm not staying tonight.
Yo, so where you going?
It doesn't matter, just leave me alone.
So I jumped up and grabbed my stuff so I could go home. And he jumped in my car. And I was just like, I'm gonna bring you to Marvin so he can fight you. And I called Marvin and told him, hey, he's in the car, he's not getting out, I'm bringing him over.
Bring it, let's go, start the car, let's go, I'm ready.
He wasn't going to back down from Marvin. He didn't mind confronting him and just being like, what's your problem? And we believe that's why he willingly got into that car with Jade to ride over the house.
But when they arrived in Deltona, Joel never could have anticipated the fury that awaited him.
Joel was walking basically into a trap.
When I pulled up to the driveway, Marvin was already in the driveway.
It was such a quick and brutal attack.
You didn't even give him a chance to defend himself.
In June of 2023, accused killer Jade Caparelli is finally giving a confession regarding the events that took the life of her boyfriend, 30-year-old Joel Cosby.
She admits she drove him to her home in Deltona, Florida, where she lived with her other boyfriend, Marvin.
The intention was for Marvin to beat Joel up.
But Jade claims she never anticipated what happened next.
Marvin opened his door, he hit him.
You didn't even give him a chance to defend himself. You had to surprise him with the attack.
As far as I can see, I thought they were just fighting.
According to her, it just looked like Marvin was hitting Joel.
Joel tried to get away from the attack, but it was such a quick and brutal attack that Marvin met him over there and continued outside on the ground.
Jade says once she realized what was really going on, she was paralyzed by fear.
It's possible that our victim wasn't even able to scream. If his lungs had been punctured and his neck was stabbed so many times, it's possible that he couldn't even make a sound at that point.
But eventually, the severity of Joel's injuries was clear.
I saw Joel was bleeding, I watched Joel die. And in my mind, I was like, I want to help him, but I didn't. I panicked.
It's kind of shocking that there were no witnesses to this crime, considering this all happened in the driveway.
Let's keep in mind this happens, in the early hours of the morning. There's not really a lot of traffic on the roadways. There's not a ton of exterior lights or street lights or really anything like that in the area that would have just lit this place up.
Jade says once Joel was dead, Marvin started giving her orders.
Marvin was like, just be quiet, just get in your car, follow me. I watched him pull Joel into the car, and I followed him, and he went out to Geneva. I don't remember exactly where we were.
She waited in the car for Marvin while he took off all of Joel's clothes, leaving him naked, and disposed of his body by the side of the road.
Marvin then put Joel's bloody clothes into the back of Jade's car, which would explain the blood evidence police later found.
Follow me back to the house, okay?
Okay.
Did you ever see what he was stabbing him with?
No, he got rid of that. When he threw away all his clothes, he threw that in the trash too. He literally put all that stuff in the trash, and the trash people took it.
In the following days, the couple worked tirelessly to erase the rest of the evidence.
He didn't die from a single stab wound. There was a lot of blood in the driveway.
In order to cover it up, they even bought red mulch in order to soak up some of that blood.
They thought it would blend in, and they could easily help dispose of that large amount of blood evidence that was there. But it didn't work.
Damn it, man. Let's just throw this on the tree and figure something else out.
We went and rented one of the pressure washers. He pressure washed the driveway, and after he finished, it just looked like, every other driveway with oil stains in it.
Then, there was the issue of the two cars, which both had blood evidence inside.
They bought the cleaning supplies from Walmart and attempted to clean the blood from the back seat of Jade's car.
What are we gonna do about your car?
But when it came to Marvin's car, they had to devise a new plan.
There was so much blood in the Ford that there was no way they could clean it up.
So they decided to drive it to Lake County and set it on fire.
Is there anything else you think we really need to know that maybe we didn't ask you?
No.
That'll conclude it. It is approximately 2:19 p.m., 19 hours. With Jade's cooperation in the prosecution against Marvin, we had a tight case.
Armed with Jade's statement, prosecutors enter Marvin's June 2024 trial feeling fully prepared.
Detectives from both Volusia and Seminole County testify at the trial and weave the tapestry for how this murder occurred.
According to the prosecution, Marvin was a cold and calculated killer.
Marvin was at the house waiting. So Joelle was showing up to an ambush, attacker laying in wait with a knife.
It would lead one to believe that, in this case, Marvin Bryant had a lot of time to think about what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it.
In his assault, Marvin stabbed Joelle over 45 times wherever he could. Head, neck, and torso.
To support their claims, prosecutors called Jade Caparelli to the stand.
Jurors hear about Jade's on-again, off-again relationships with Joelle and with Marvin.
She recites the same account to jurors as she did in her recorded confession.
It was a very strong case going to prosecution, even without her statement or without her cooperation.
During cross-examination, Marvin's defense team doesn't go easy on Jade.
They essentially pinned the case back on Jade, and that he was just helping her and he was just kind of standing by.
However, the jury isn't buying it.
Jurors find Marvin guilty of first-degree murder. He's ultimately sentenced to life in prison.
Marvin didn't really show much reaction to anything going on. He just sat there watching.
He wasn't, say, remorseful. I just feel like he realized how stupid what he did was. And the fact that, my life is over.
In exchange for her testimony, Jade is granted the plea deal she was initially promised.
She pled and accepted a reduced charge of second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 35 years in prison. She gets credit for time served, and she has to serve roughly 80% of that time.
It was definitely a case where, no one like that needs to be free at all. But I believe it was some justice served.
Though Joelle's killers are now behind bars, it doesn't ease the pain of this truly senseless murder.
At the end of the day, the contempt, the deception, the lack of transparency all led to this deadly recipe that cost Joel Cosby his life.
Now, not only is his daughter without a father, your daughter will never be able to see you ever again. You ruined your life just as much as you ruined all of these other people's lives.
However, through their grief, Joelle's family has found strength in their memories of him.
We do go through pictures, or my brother might have me listening to some of their old music that they made together, sharing positive stories about him. We do all of that to try to keep his memory alive. I think it's a good thing for his legacy to be told, because we really do miss him.
She was a young mom who built her life around her kids.
She adored her children. She loved them so much.
But at times, she struggled.
She was suffering from postpartum depression.
Postpartum is very tricky. It's a monster.
Could that be the reason for her mysterious disappearance?
No one had heard from her.
Your gut is telling you something's wrong.
There is a link between postpartum depression and suicide.
But did she take her own life? Or did someone take it from her?
Something wasn't right.
The body was wrapped up in plastic, stuffed into a bin.
The tote was shoved off the side of a mountain.
The investigation opens a Pandora's box of possibilities.
You have to look at everything.
He was stalking her.
Somebody's gonna crack.
But the truth is the last thing anyone expected.
It's such a tragic story.
She just wasn't able to find a way out.
March 11th, 2020. It's a chilly morning in Colorado Springs, Colorado, the Centennial State's second largest city.
Colorado Springs is one of the most beautiful cities in the country.
It's one of the top places in the United States to live.
It is home to Pikes Peak, home to a lot of great hiking, picturesque views.
However, on this Wednesday, one Colorado Springs resident is too anxious to take in the natural beauty around her.
Carlene Blower was worried because it had been 3 days since she talked to her 28-year-old daughter, Elizabeth Kramer. She has not returned any of her calls.
Initially, it wasn't too concerning because Elizabeth was grown and she was living her life.
But now she's learned that no one else has heard from Elizabeth either.
I haven't talked to her in a couple of days, and that's not like her to not call me. Carlene heard from her daughter's boyfriend, George Little, and he said that he had not seen Elizabeth in several days. She then called Elizabeth's ex, the father of her 2 kids, Davion Rogers. Davion says that he has not seen or heard from Lizzie since Sunday night as well.
Okay, I'll call you back.
When Carlene contacts the healthcare center where Elizabeth works,
She hasn't worked for several shifts.
her fear turns to panic.
She had not been to her shifts. She had not called in. They have not heard anything from her in about 3 days.
This is unlike Elizabeth.
Now convinced that something terrible has happened to her daughter, Carlene decides to call the Colorado Springs Police Department to ask for help.
Colorado Springs Police and Fire, how may I help you?
Yes, I am calling because I have concerns about my daughter and I don't know how to do a welfare check for her.
It's every mother's worst fear for your child to be missing, to not know what's going on.
Elizabeth Kramer was Lizzie to her family and friends, and to everyone else, she was the life of the party.
Lizzie was a very joyful person, and she knew no strangers.
She was a ball of fun.
So how's work going? It's going great. I'm making lots of new friends.
The kind of person who savored the simple life, Lizzie was happy to spend her days enjoying the company of close friends and family.
At the end of the day, what mattered most to her was spending time with her loved ones.
She is very fun-loving, and that's very endearing for all of her friends and family who just love being around her.
She brought the same infectious enthusiasm to her romantic relationships. especially when she met a man named Davion Rogers.
In 2016, Elizabeth and Davion came together in what you could really call a whirlwind romance.
It was an instant attraction.
I knew at the moment I saw you standing there.
What did you know?
She's young, he's young. He got a little swagger to him.
That'd be a shame if I didn't introduce myself.
Every woman wants a confident man. She bites. They start this relationship.
Stop it.
It was fun. It was exciting. It was energetic.
And before long, it was serious.
Within 3 years, they had already had 2 children, and they were talking about getting married.
But just as the relationship started to look like it would last, Lizzie and Davion began to drift apart.
Their relationship kind of hit a rock. It began to grow stagnant.
They've lost connection, lost communication.
Eventually, they decided it was time to move on.
They ended up separating.
Lizzie understood that it was either stay here and be stagnant or move on and grow and find that one true love.
And it didn't take her long to find Mr. Right.
After Elizabeth and Davion broke up, she started a new job at a healthcare company.
In the course of her new job, she met George Little.
You look great today.
Thanks. So do you.
George was several years younger than Elizabeth, but he had the same enthusiastic personality.
She's had the opportunity to see him every day, get to know him. She see that he's ambitious, he's driven.
They would talk and they would laugh and have these great interactions at work, and that eventually spilled over into their personal lives after work.
What are you doing later today?
Nothing right now.
Lizzie and George's relationship progressed pretty quickly. At the end of that year, they had decided to move in together.
The decision to live together came with its own problems.
At that time, George was living in a small apartment.
There wasn't enough room for Lizzie and her children to move in with him.
It was very heartbreaking for her to have to be separated from them.
But by early 2020, George and Elizabeth found a new apartment.
Their new place was big enough for them and her kids.
She was in a position where she and Davion could have split custody of the children.
She was feeling very hopeful for the future for her, George, and the kids.
But now, Elizabeth's mother is telling the police that no one has heard from her daughter in 3 days.
Children's father is concerned for her, and her boyfriend is concerned for her, and I'm concerned for her.
And she has a special reason to be worried.
According to her mother, Elizabeth had been suffering from emotional problems ever since giving birth to her last child.
After childbirth, the levels of estrogen and progesterone in women severely drop, which can lead to depression.
I'm concerned that her severe postpartum depression has caused her to make some unsafe decisions.
Carlene is concerned that her daughter may have hurt herself.
She has been self-medicating with supposedly drugs and alcohol.
No parent would think that their child will commit suicide.
The life of Colorado Springs healthcare worker and mother of 2, Elizabeth Kramer, had become a daily struggle.
After Lizzie had her last child, she had been suffering with a severe bout of postpartum depression.
She was falling into a deep hole.
But in the fall of 2019, it appeared to her family that she was finally making improvements.
She had gotten a job at a healthcare facility, and she was really enjoying what she did.
She started a new relationship with a guy from work named George Little, who seemed to really adore her.
You look great.
And she'd started working on a custody arrangement with her ex and father of her kids, Davion Rogers.
That is an incredible feeling like everything is working out.
But now, her mother has called the Colorado Springs police to report her daughter missing.
Carlene hadn't heard from Elizabeth in 3 days, and that gave her cause for alarm.
Her anxiety was through the roof.
Carlene tells the police that she's afraid her daughter's disappearance might be connected to her postpartum depression.
Her mother is concerned that she might have done something to hurt herself.
Do you know where she is right now?
I don't. I have no idea.
Okay, so we can air information to officers in the area so they can start looking for her.
After the call, Elizabeth's mother heads to the police station to give detectives more information.
You want to take a seat here? So, when was the last time you saw your daughter?
It was on Thursday. We had lunch and like a mother's daughter spa day.
Lizzie seemed normal, and she was telling her mom how excited she was to see her children again on Sunday for dinner.
They spoke again on Sunday prior to Elizabeth picking up the boys.
But a couple of days later, Carlene got a disturbing call.
George, Lizzie's current boyfriend, calls Carlene and tells her that he's concerned about her whereabouts.
He said the last time that he saw her was on Sunday, just before she went to pick up her kids.
From their father?
Yes, Davion Rogers.
Carlene, of course, immediately calls Davion.
Davion let her know that, yes, Lizzie had come by the house. She picked up the children around 5 p.m., she dropped them back off around 7 p.m., and she left, and he hadn't heard from her either.
Even more concerning is that Carlene believes her daughter has been self-medicating for her depression.
Her mom thought that maybe she was in such a severe state of postpartum depression that maybe she was indulging in prescription medication.
What made you think that?
Because when I talked to Davion, he told me some things.
Davion told Carlene that Lizzie stole prescription painkillers from him.
He said she was stealing pain medication from him and disappearing for days on end.
I'm just so afraid. I'm afraid that she may have done something to herself.
The detectives share Carlene's concern.
The police are convinced that there's sufficient cause for worry, so they issue a BOLO for Elizabeth's car, and they start the process of obtaining warrants to look into her bank account records, her social media records.
While waiting on a response to the warrants, investigators start conducting interviews with those closest to Elizabeth.
They want to know everybody that she talked to in the days leading up to her disappearance.
They start with the last person known to have seen her, her ex-boyfriend, Davion Rogers.
When was the last time you saw Elizabeth?
She came over here on Sunday.
Davion told him that Lizzie came over around 5 p.m.
She picked up the kids and took them out to dinner. Then she dropped them back off at around 7 o'clock.
After that, he never seen her again.
Davion admits that things have been tense between him and his ex lately.
Davion says that he has been fighting Lizzie for custody of their 2 children.
Why don't you want her to have custody?
Because I don't trust that she'll take care of the kids.
He says that she has been irresponsible. She's disappeared for days without contacting him or the children.
Davion also confirms Carlene's suspicions that Elizabeth was self-medicating with drugs and alcohol.
He says that she has been abusing drugs, and she has also stolen pain medication from him.
I have to ask you this. Did you have anything to do with Elizabeth disappearing?
No, sir.
Davion said that even though he didn't want her to have custody, she was still the mother of his children.
Although they had their issues, he was super worried about her.
But before investigators leave, Davion brings up something else that he says has been troubling him.
Did you ask George?
You mean George Little?
Yeah, the guy she's been living with.
He really thinks there's something deeper going on.
he believes that her new boyfriend, George, had something to do with her disappearance.
Police in Colorado Springs have learned that missing 28-year-old Elizabeth Kramer was struggling with postpartum depression and drug use.
Postpartum depression is something that so many women suffer from after having a baby. It puts them in a very dark, negative space that is dangerous.
But now her ex-boyfriend, Davion Rogers, has told investigators that he doesn't believe an overdose or suicide is behind her disappearance.
Davion does not believe that Lizzie hurt herself.
He thinks that the new boyfriend, George, has something to do with Lizzie going missing.
Why do you think George might be involved?
Because the way she was when she came over on Sunday.
But on this particular day, her behavior was just very strange and very out of character.
Normally, when Lizzie comes to pick up the kids, Davion brings them down to the car, he loads them in, and everything is fine.
But on Sunday, she took the kids and their backpacks down to the car herself.
He believes that it's because George was with her.
George was in the car and Lizzie was trying to keep them apart.
He said she seemed like she was afraid of George.
If Davion is correct, it contradicts what George told Elizabeth's mother.
George says the last time he saw Lizzie was when she left the apartment to go pick up her kids for dinner.
That means George was actually the last person that saw Lizzie alive.
After talking to Davion, investigators asked George Little to come in for an interview.
He tells police officers that he will do anything to help find Lizzie.
How are things between you and Elizabeth?
Good. Really good.
He tells them that things were going great with him and Lizzie, that they were happy.
Did you go with her to get the kids?
No, I never go with her.
You sure about that?
Davion seemed pretty convinced that George was in the car while Elizabeth was picking up the kids. So detectives just came right out and asked him whether or not he was involved.
Did you have anything to do with her disappearance?
Man, I'm trying to help find her. Why would you ask me that?
He stated that he loved her a lot and that he would never harm her.
But he says he knows someone who could.
While Davion was pointing the finger at George, George actually says they need to be looking at Davion.
That guy's scary.
What do you mean?
He said that Davion was very jealous of him to the point that he would actually threaten him.
George also claims that Davion's stories about Elizabeth's drug use are outright lies.
George tells the police that the most she has ever done is drink and maybe some marijuana, which is legal in Colorado, but she has never done anything harder than that.
He lets the police know that Davion had been feeding Lizzie's mom different stories about her drug use and disappearances.
I know one thing for sure. If something happened to her, it wasn't suicide.
George wasn't concerned that Lizzie did something to herself. He was concerned that Davion did something to her.
Investigators have now heard two different stories from Elizabeth's boyfriend and her ex, but they don't know which one is true.
Detectives subpoenaed both of their internet and phone records to see what was really going on between them and Lizzie.
However, they're still waiting for the results when they get their first big break in the case.
Detectives were notified that a 911 call came in earlier that morning reporting a suspicious abandoned vehicle.
Hello, Springs Police Fire. How can I help you?
Who do you talk to if reported if a vehicle might be stolen?
Is it your vehicle?
No, it's actually been parked on the street. Just in for once, I just want to make sure it's stolen.
Okay. An officer will be dispatched as soon as possible.
When police ran the plates, they discovered that it's Elizabeth's SUV.
Patrol officers contacted the detectives who were working the case, and they came out to search the car and the surrounding areas.
They did not find Lizzie inside of or around the car. However, they did find red stains in the car.
they noticed something that looks like blood smear on the car seats, which is not a good sign in any missing persons case.
Detectives canvass the neighborhood, hoping someone saw the person who abandoned the vehicle.
No one has seen anything or heard anything.
It's not looking good at this point. There's not a whole lot to go on in terms of where she is.
Until a few days later, when there's another break in the case. It starts with two teenagers in the mountains outside Colorado Springs.
They were hiking. They found this 50-gallon bin. It was a plastic tote that had been duct tape closed.
It immediately piques their curiosity.
The teenagers got really curious and they cut the duct tape off.
When they open this bin, they find a body there. This missing persons case turned into a homicide investigation.
2 weeks after 28-year-old mother of two, Elizabeth Kramer, disappeared, hikers outside Colorado Springs have stumbled across a dead body in the woods.
I can't even fathom what they were experiencing in that moment. I'm sure fear and confusion. Like, what is happening right now and what do I do about it?
Detectives are quickly called to the scene to make a positive identification.
They would need to run her prints to confirm, but the detectives were fairly certain that the woman in the tote was Elizabeth Kramer.
Detectives also had a theory for how she ended up there.
There was a road that ran atop a cliff overlooking the spot where the tote was found. It looks like it was pushed off the edge.
It's clear. This is a dumping ground. This is not where the actual murder occurred.
But it's not clear how she died.
There was really no trauma that they can see that was done to the body.
It's not until they get to the autopsy that they're able to determine a cause of death.
The post-mortem exam reveals a phenomenon known as petechia, burst blood capillaries.
The medical examiner was able to determine that there were tiny blood vessels in Elizabeth's eyes that were broken.
It's a clear sign that Elizabeth had been strangled to death.
The amount of passion and rage that it takes to strangle somebody to death is crazy.
But who had that kind of rage against Elizabeth Kramer?
The obvious suspects were the men in her life, her boyfriend, George, or her ex, Davion. But it was also possible that Elizabeth was involved with someone her family or her boyfriend didn't know about.
Looking for answers, investigators interview people at the healthcare company where she and George both worked.
When police speak with Lizzie's co-workers, they discuss how devastated and heartbroken they are to have lost her.
As far as her co-workers are concerned, one suspect can be ruled out.
Lizzie's co-workers said that she was extremely happy with George.
There's no way George was involved.
But that's not what they say about Davion.
Davion was a bad guy.
Lizzie had confided in them several times that not only was Davion a cheater, but he was also very violent toward her.
Elizabeth wasn't just dealing with postpartum depression.
She would come into work crying all the time because of the things he did to her.
Lizzie said that Davion had been beating her.
Her co-workers say they've seen the evidence for themselves.
They tell a story of her coming to work with bruises.
She's been putting up with him for a long time.
We tried to help her, but she said she had to stay with him.
Lizzie tried to stay and endure the abuse for the sake of her children. She really didn't have anywhere to go or a way out. So she thought that if she just took it, things would get better.
But a horrific incident in December changed everything.
Around Christmas, Lizzie was getting ready to take a shower when Davion stormed in.
He grabbed her by her hair and tried to bend her over the sink to rape her.
After that, there was no going back.
For Lizzie, that was the final straw. She just realized that this was not going to get better for her or her children, and she had to make a change for their safety.
She and George had already been forging a relationship, so she went to George to ask if she could move in with him.
Elizabeth felt she'd finally managed to escape.
She got out of that toxic relationship and began a new relationship with George Little. Her life began picking up and looking brighter at that point.
But Davion began using the children to try to control her.
He wouldn't let her see them. He said that he was going to get full custody.
And he was fighting her attempt to get joint custody.
And eventually, she confided in her coworkers that Davion was stalking her.
She would say, "He always watches me. He sees me. He knows what I'm doing." And this made her coworkers very alarmed.
But most alarming of all is what Elizabeth told her boss 2 weeks before she disappeared.
She came into work and she was crying.
She wasn't sure what to do about it.
He said he's gonna kill me.
Police in Colorado Springs suspect that Elizabeth Kramer was strangled by someone close to her. And after talking to her coworkers, they believe they've identified the monster in her life. The father of her children, Davion Rogers.
Lizzie, about 2 weeks before she went missing, came into her supervisor's office and told her that Davion had threatened to kill her.
Elizabeth's boss told her to stay away, to keep her distance from Davion. But that was hard.
Because Davion had her children.
She just couldn't stay away from the kids, and eventually she went back so that she could see her children.
Detectives suspect that's what Davion was counting on.
The worst abuse most women will experience is when they're leaving the relationship. Because at that point, that partner that's doing the abuse, they no longer feel like they're in control.
And rather than give up control, detectives believe Davion had killed her. But they need evidence to prove it.
They had these incriminating statements from George and her coworkers about Davion, but nothing really substantial to back up those statements.
Until they received the records they'd requested from Davion's cell phone.
Once the subpoenas were returned, and police had the phone records and the social media records, police found out that Davion was still very much obsessed with Lizzie. He had directly threatened her, not only on text, but via social media.
But even more shocking is what the investigators find in his internet search history.
They found searches for how to get away with murder, how to get rid of a blood stain from a carpet.
He had been looking up things about black magic and how to use a voodoo doll to kill somebody, how to make strangulation look like an accident.
It wasn't just out of morbid curiosity. It was training.
Davion had watched several videos on how to do a rear naked chokehold, a martial arts maneuver that was consistent with the way in which Lizzie was murdered.
It's enough to convince detectives that Davion killed Elizabeth. But they need more evidence before they can make an arrest.
They already have a lot to go on, but what is really the nail in the coffin is the surveillance video.
Across the street from Davion's apartment is a public high school. And when detectives contact the staff, they learn that there's a security camera pointed right at their suspect's front door.
They're able to see that on Sunday evening, Lizzie did go over to Davion's apartment to pick up the children for dinner.
The footage from the surveillance cameras showed Elizabeth pulling up and parking, getting out of her car at 4:33 p.m.
She enters the apartment, but they do not see her come back out.
Instead, they see Davion.
He come out of his apartment, no signs of her. He gets in the car, moves it about 4 houses down.
After moving the car, he goes back inside the apartment.
Some time goes by and another black man shows up.
The other man brought a large item to the door, waited outside, and was then seen helping Davion carry it away from the apartment.
It looks like the bin that Elizabeth's body was found in.
At no point while police were watching the surveillance footage did they ever see Lizzie leave the apartment.
It's the proof the investigators have been looking for.
The police finally have enough evidence to charge Davion.
On June 17, 2020, police take Davion into custody at his apartment. They immediately conduct an interview, hoping to close the case with a confession.
They give him an opportunity to come clean and tell the truth. Davion denies that he had anything to do with Lizzie's murder.
Davion was sticking to his story. You know, he didn't change up anything.
So detectives decide it's time to lay all their cards on the table.
We didn't just bring you down here for no reason.
Okay, we got some new information in the case.
They tell Davion that they have the video, they have the internet searches, they have this evidence against him.
When they let him know, hey, you can't get out of this, he cracked.
He finally says he is ready to tell the truth.
She came over to pick up the kids like I said. But then something happened.
When Lizzie got there, he informed Lizzie that he did not trust her and did not want her to have the children.
They got into a heated argument about custody.
I can't take it.
They're getting into a shouting match.
And it quickly turned into more than just shouting.
He told her he was taking the kids and he was moving to Memphis.
He said it set Lizzie off, and she lunged at him.
She came at me. Like, she was trying to grab me.
And what'd you do?
I, pushed her off me.
But according to Davion, that wasn't the end of it.
Davion said that once he pushed Lizzie off of him, she grabbed a knife. She turned around and told him that if he was going to take the children, that she was going to kill all of them.
Davion says he had to protect himself.
I didn't have a choice. I couldn't let her cut me.
That's when he put her in the chokehold.
He really intended to just restrain her.
He didn't even realize he was choking her so hard.
He did not mean to kill her.
Armed with security camera video and their suspect's incriminating internet search history, Colorado Springs police have arrested Davion Rogers for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Elizabeth Kramer. But now, under questioning, Davion has told them they have it all wrong.
Davion insists that he never intended to hurt Lizzie.
Davion said that Lizzie attacked him.
I didn't have a choice. I couldn't let her cut me.
In an attempt to defend himself, he puts her in a chokehold and didn't realize how hard he was squeezing.
Until he realized she was dead.
Davion told the detectives that he panicked. His first thought was to go outside and move the car.
It's crazy because all I could think was maybe if nobody knew she was there, it'd be okay.
But he also had to get rid of the body.
I need you to do me a favor, man.
Davion called one of his friends and had him go buy a 50-gallon tote and bring it to the house.
Did you tell him why you needed such a big tote?
No. No, sir. He had no idea about Lizzie being dead.
Davion had him stay outside and wait. While his friend was outside, he wrapped up Lizzie's body and stuffed it in the tote.
All this time, the kids were in the back room.
After putting her body in the tote, Davion asked his friend to help him carry it to her car.
You don't want to know what's in here. Don't even ask.
He insists that his friend had no idea and that he was just helping him.
When the tote was loaded into the car, Davion drove into the mountains outside Colorado Springs.
Davion had his friend stay behind with the children while he went to dispose of the body.
Davion's point of going into the mountains was looking for a place to dispose of the body.
Davion says that he drove to a spot where the road ran beside a cliff.
He backed the car up to the very edge.
Davion stated that he just kicked the bin over the peak.
Then he drove back to Colorado Springs.
Davion abandoned Lizzie's car in Colorado Springs. He got a ride home and then started to clean up and get rid of anything that could have been potential evidence.
I wish it never happened. I mean, I wish she hadn't come at me like that.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to hurt her.
The police are not really buying that. They know that it takes several minutes to strangle somebody.
It also doesn't fit with what investigators found in his internet search history.
They feel he was so upset that Lizzie was leaving him for George that he had already planned on killing her.
They end up charging him with first-degree murder.
When Davion goes on trial on February 25th, 2021, the prosecution tells the jury that the death of Lizzie Kramer was no accident.
This was premeditated. This is something that Davion had planned to do.
Prosecutors state that his motive in murdering her was the fact that Lizzie was leaving him for another man.
He doesn't want her to take his kids away from him and go start a new life with some other guy.
Davion refused to accept that their relationship was over. But nothing could persuade her to get back together with him.
Elizabeth was not going to go back to an abusive relationship no matter how hard he tried.
Davion has felt like if he couldn't have Lizzie, nobody could.
In the end, he decided she had to die.
This was done out of jealousy, out of him losing his sense of control over the relationship.
Prosecutors made it clear that this was not a crime of passion. Davion had spent several days searching and planning out how he was going to kill her.
By March 8th, he was ready.
When Elizabeth showed up to take her children to dinner, Davion took that opportunity while she was alone to end her life.
He knew he was going to commit this crime. He's prepared for it.
He struck without warning.
Davion caught her off guard as soon as she walked in, put her in the chokehold that he had been practicing.
He held it extremely tightly for several minutes.
Davion had plenty of time to realize what was happening, and still he did not loosen his grip.
It was deliberate and cold-blooded.
This all happened while the kids were playing in the back bedroom.
They're able to paint a pretty clear picture of Davion as a murderer and a monster.
The defense argues that Davion never intended to kill his ex-girlfriend.
He maintains that Lizzie left him no choice because she attacked him.
But the evidence is against him.
Davion had prepared this for months, and that's all recorded by his phone records, his computer records.
On September 9th, 2021, the jury reaches a decision.
They found Davion Rogers guilty of first-degree murder.
He was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Davion Rogers is behind bars for life, and he will not ever be able to get out to inflict harm on anybody else.
Police, prosecutors, and family agree that justice has been served.
He had no remorse in it, so the sentence was well-deserved.
The murder, it was just so horrific, so cold-blooded, so callous.
Davion stole the mother of his children's life at the moment when she had finally found happiness.
Elizabeth had so much to look forward to. She was a happy, joyful person who had the opportunity with George to start a new life, and that was stolen from her.
Elizabeth wasn't deserving of the end that she found.
She was a mother of 4 who took a second chance on love.
He was a good husband and surrogate father to her children.
It's a big sigh of relief because men tend to shy away from that.
But now she's been missing for 3 days.
For her to just leave and not tell anyone was highly, highly suspicious.
She was on medication for several medical conditions.
The clock is ticking.
The family, they were putting up flyers.
They do a whole social media campaign.
The search will reveal buried secrets.
She's started dabbling in some kind of sexual fetish. She's been talking to a number of men on dating apps.
I was basically blind to everything that was going on.
But can detectives find her before it's too late?
Her phone started moving towards the Everglades.
They see a white pickup truck pull in and just sit there.
You know, the dumpsters here, they're for construction debris only.
There are garbage bags in the back.
November 7th, 2021. In this city nestled between the Atlantic and the Everglades, everyday life in Fort Lauderdale, Florida is never far from the water.
The reason why Fort Lauderdale was dubbed Venice of America was because of the waterway.
Fort Lauderdale is a beautiful city with plenty of palm trees, beautiful weather, plenty of beaches, and beautiful people.
But this Sunday, one of those people has suddenly gone missing.
On November 7th, Ernest Gordon called into the Broward County Police Department to let them know that he had not seen his wife, Wanda, in 3 days.
Last time I saw her was Thursday when she left for work.
When he came home that night at 6 p.m., she's not there.
Ernest said he wasn't worried at first.
Initially, he thought maybe she's with her friends, maybe she's blowing off steam.
But then she didn't come home at all that night.
And she didn't show up at work on Friday.
That's when he started to get worried.
Ernest had been constantly calling her, texting her. She was not responding.
I'm afraid something's happened to her.
She would never just leave without notifying anyone.
Ernest Gordon was Wanda's second husband. The 42-year-old mother of 4 had married Keith Morris when they were both teenagers.
When I first got with Wanda, I was 16 years old. You know, we were kids. But I actually admired Wanda from a distance at first. Every time I seen her, it's like she had a beautiful smile that lit up a room.
Once they were together, Wanda and Keith wasted little time before starting a family.
She became a family woman, and at the end of the day, it always was family first.
You have someone who is very attentive, very loving.
But going from teenagers to parents put a strain on their relationship.
She used to get me to do a lot of things, you know, that I really didn't feel like doing, but it's like we always argued.
Wanda and Keith eventually split up.
It was hard, you know, with the separation.
But the couple didn't divorce until after Wanda started dating Ernest Gordon.
They met while Wanda was working as a school crossing guard.
How you learn to handle all them kids?
Well, I do have 4 of my own.
4?
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, and I love each and every one of them.
Usually in the dating pool, if a woman has children, men tend to shy away from that because that's responsibility. And so typically we as women, when we find a man that takes interest in us and our children, we're thinking, yep, this could be the right man for me.
Soon the two were seeing each other on a regular basis.
She meets this man who not only does she fall in love with, but he falls in love with her, he falls in love with her children, and most important of all, her children fall in love with Ernest.
He was very good to them.
3 years after her separation from her first husband, Wanda was ready to take a second chance with Keith's blessing.
I said, I see you happy, so let me go ahead and divorce you so you can get married to who you really want to be with.
Once her divorce was final, Wanda and Ernest married.
Ernest steps up. He takes on the children, especially the youngest, as if they were his very own. And it's a really nice, tight-knit, close family.
But now, the woman at the heart of that tight-knit family is missing, and no one has heard from her in 3 days.
I'm afraid something's happened to her.
An operator with the Broward County Sheriff's Office dispatches investigators to their home to file a missing persons report.
When police show up to interview Ernest, he's visibly upset, he's distraught, he's concerned.
He told them what he told the dispatcher over the phone, that he hadn't seen Wanda in 3 whole days.
The purse is gone, and I can't find her phone.
The fact that her purse, her wallet, and her cell phone was missing may be an indication that she left on her own free will and that at the moment she did not want to be found.
Although how she left is unclear.
Ernest told detectives that Wanda's car was parked outside.
You think someone gave your wife a ride?
I don't know.
Even if nothing happened and Wanda was fine, Ernest says she can still be in danger.
His wife was on various medications that she was taking on a daily basis.
She had a number of medical conditions. She had seizures. She suffered from depression. She had blood clots.
But according to Ernest, all of Wanda's pills are still in the cabinet.
And so with her being without her medication, there's a huge concern.
If she doesn't take her medicine, she could get real sick or worse.
They only had so much time to find her.
Mother of 4, Wanda Gordon, had made a fresh start with her second husband, Ernest.
It takes a special type of person to take on another man's children and raise them as if they were his own.
But now Ernest has called the Broward County Sheriff's Office to his home to report that Wanda is missing.
No one had heard or seen Wanda in 3 days.
She didn't have her medicine with her when she disappeared. So this is really troubling to Ernest.
But it's unclear if something had happened or if she'd left of her own accord.
It doesn't look like anything unusual happened in the residence.
But her purse and her cell phone were also missing.
However, if Wanda left, she may not have been alone.
Her car was in the driveway.
You think someone gave your wife a ride?
I don't know.
But what Ernest says next adds an entirely new twist to the investigation.
Any idea if your wife was seeing someone else?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure.
Ernest reveals that they were separated. They were still legally married, but separated and living in the house together.
It's my fault. We had a really good thing going, but I messed it up.
A year ago, Wanda had caught him cheating.
They're still living together because they want to have a united front for the children.
Ernest says that wasn't the only reason he stayed, though.
Ernest was on the page of, I want to fix this. I want to make this work. I have seen the error of my ways.
But he admitted that Wanda wasn't ready to believe him, much less take him back.
According to Ernest, that's why he wasn't at all concerned when she didn't come home Thursday night.
Maybe she was blowing off steam.
Or maybe she was looking to escape from her problems permanently.
You said one of her medicines was for depression, right?
Yeah.
The thought did occur that maybe she had done something to herself.
But when detectives ask, Ernest insists that suicide is out of the question.
Ernest said that there was no way that she had done anything to herself.
I can't believe she'd do that to the kids. She wouldn't want to hurt them like that.
When detectives follow up with Wanda's oldest son, who still lives in the home, he says his mother seemed fine the last time he saw her.
Wanda's 19-year-old son indicated that he had seen his mom on November 4th.
He saw her around 4 p.m. It was, business as usual. Her mood didn't seem off. Nothing raised any flags.
What exactly did she say to you?
We didn't talk a lot. She was on the phone.
Do you know who she was talking to?
Some guy, I think.
He knew his mom was dating after the recent separation with Ernest.
He told detectives that he wasn't sure if Ernest knew that Wanda had started dating again, but at the same time, Wanda was not trying to keep it a secret.
Exactly who she had been seeing? Her son had no idea.
All he knows is that was the last time he saw her.
Wanda's son shared with detectives that when he woke up on the morning of November 5th, he did not see his mother's car in the driveway around 7 o'clock.
Didn't really think anything of it. He went back to sleep.
When he woke up again around 8:30, he saw the car in the driveway.
So, Wanda's son had gone to her bedroom to check on her.
Ma, you home?
Wanda wasn't home, and it didn't look as if she'd been home the night before.
It looked as though she had not slept in the bed.
It was as if his mom had not even been there at all.
Her son's account fits with what Ernest told the police.
Ernest said he didn't see Wanda's car in the driveway when he left for work at 6 in the morning. So that leaves 90 minutes where no one had eyes on the driveway.
So someone had dropped the car off in that 90-minute window.
But where was Wanda now? And why would she leave without telling anyone?
Your mom and stepdad are separated, right?
Yeah, it's complicated.
They fight?
Sometimes.
They argued, but there was absolutely never any violence.
Ernest is he's a good guy. He's made some mistakes, but...
You think he had something to do with your mother being gone?
No, not Ernest.
He said he couldn't even fathom Ernest being violent.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Hoping to learn more about Wanda's love life, detectives return to the station and reach out to her sister, Lucy.
They spoke to each other not just daily, but several times a day.
She told Lucy everything.
Including things she didn't tell her husband.
So you knew Wanda was dating again?
Oh, yeah. Wanda had been using social media and online dating to try and meet suitable gentlemen.
Wanda's sister was clear that she thought they weren't all that suitable, though.
She had met some guys that were kind of weird.
What do you mean, weird?
It's embarrassing.
She says her sister started dabbling in some kind of sexual fetish, and that a lot of the men that she's speaking to on these apps are also involved in this type of sexual fetish.
What kind of things were they into?
She didn't tell me much, but it all felt strange.
Okay, did she actually meet anyone?
Well, she had been talking to this one guy.
Lucy pressed her sister for details about the guy, but Wanda was a little reluctant to give too many details.
She didn't know the guy's name.
But she did know when they were planning to meet.
Their first date was supposed to be on the night of the 4th.
That was the night that she disappeared.
Wanda Gordon's sister has told detectives that on the night the mother of four went missing, Wanda had a date with a man she'd met online.
Wanda and this gentleman that she was preparing to meet with had only been communicating through social media. This would be their very first time meeting each other face to face.
She didn't tell me his name,
Did she tell you anything about him?
just that he was into what she was.
Wanda seemed excited, but that's really all Lucy knew.
Could the mystery man Wanda met online have something to do with her disappearance?
What happens if they went on a date and that date went bad?
There's always a fear that kind of hovers around online dating and meeting people through social media.
Is it possible that she met somebody? Absolutely. Is it possible that somebody wanted to cause harm to her? Absolutely.
After talking to Wanda's sister, the detectives focus on identifying Wanda's online suitor.
To Lucy's knowledge, Wanda and this gentleman that she was preparing to meet with had only been communicating through the dating app,
which is where the detectives run into a roadblock.
The detectives had no idea what her username was or her password or even the email that she used to get into the site.
While detectives are spinning their wheels in cyberspace, Wanda's family is on the street, spreading the word that she's missing.
They put up flyers, speak to people themselves. They do a whole social media campaign.
Media outlets began airing the story.
And before too long, their efforts produce results.
After seeing a story on the news, the man Wanda had gone out with reached out to detectives.
His name is Tyrone Watkins.
He was very cooperative, willing to answer all of their questions.
Tyrone confirms that he and Wanda had been messaging for over a month.
He shows them text messages, the normal pre-date flirting.
But did you actually meet?
Yeah, just that one time.
The first time they met was on November 4th.
Tyrone says they met near the beach in Fort Lauderdale.
Now, despite the fact that they hooked up on a fetish site, what Tyrone described was surprisingly tame.
They hung out and they chatted and they had a really, really nice time.
But according to Tyrone, that's when he learned that Wanda hadn't been entirely upfront with him.
It's something I really need to tell you.
Wanda revealed to him that she was still married, but planning to leave her husband.
It didn't sit right with Tyrone.
He wasn't comfortable with dating a married woman.
That make her mad?
Nah, she was cool with it.
He says they parted on friendly terms.
Tyrone asked her to text him to let him know that she had made it home safely.
He's being the true gentleman. Make sure that the woman gets home safe.
Tyrone says she didn't actually text him until after 1 o'clock that morning.
By then, he was asleep.
Tyrone said he then texted Wanda later in the morning around 9:20, and he never heard back.
Any idea why it was so late when she texted you?
She said she was going to the beach for a while. She seemed like she had a lot on her mind.
You still have that text too?
Yeah, it's all here.
When the detectives examine Tyrone's cell phone, it appears he's telling the truth.
They confirmed that Wanda sent a text to him letting him know that she got home.
He also shows them a receipt from the parking garage that he was in, and it's time-stamped, it's dated.
And when detectives pull footage from the city's beachfront surveillance cameras, they confirm that Tyrone and Wanda parted ways amicably.
Nothing unusual happened. She didn't seem distressed or disturbed. It was just sort of a normal, nice date.
However, something doesn't add up.
Tyrone says that Wanda was home at 1:20 in the morning, safe and sound, but Ernest says his wife never came home at all. Both stories can't be right.
Detectives needed to speak with Ernest again about the inconsistencies in his story.
So this time, detectives call Ernest down to the station to answer additional questions.
You said she never came in?
Look, all I know is she wasn't home when I went to bed or when I left for work the next morning.
When was that?
I was asleep by 11:30 or so, and I leave for work at 6.
It's possible that she did come home, but he was sleeping.
Since they were sleeping in separate bedrooms, it's likely he wouldn't hear her come in.
So Ernest is standing by what he said.
However, he also has a new lead for the detectives.
Ernest offers up a new suspect, Keith Morris, Wanda's ex-husband.
Look, what I think y'all should do, in my opinion, is look into this Keith Morris. Him and Wanda, they was having custody issues.
According to Ernest, Keith had been acting strangely ever since Wanda went missing.
He says that after Wanda disappeared, Keith showed up at the house.
He's at the door. He wants the children.
I'm just here for my kids. I don't want any problems.
They're in my house. They're gonna stay in my house.
Wanda Gordon's estranged husband, Ernest, has suggested that detectives looking for the missing mother of 4 should talk to her ex-husband, Keith Morris.
Ernest believes that Keith has orchestrated all of this so that he wouldn't have to pay child support and that he would have custody of his youngest 2 children.
What makes you think that?
He came by the house the day after she disappeared. Told me he wanted the kids.
Give the kids. They're my kids.
The kids said they did not want to go with their biological father.
According to Ernest, Keith wouldn't listen.
Come on, look, I don't want to do this, Ernest, but just let me have my, you know what?
Oh, you gonna call the cops?
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
Or are you tripping?
He said that Keith had called the police and demanded they make Ernest turn over the children.
My kids are in that house. This man won't give me my kids.
They are his kids.
He won't even let me see them.
Okay. Why don't you take a step over there? Let me talk to the kids. We can bring them out. Let me talk to them. Step over here. Hey, let me talk to them real quick, okay? Guys, you guys have a choice.
When police officers spoke to the children made it clear that they wanted to stay with Ernest. They had been with him for the last decade.
At this point, Keith left the kids with Ernest, but he did come back with a court order demanding that the kids be put in his custody.
You said he pays child support?
Every month.
He wants the kids. He has motive to get rid of her. It's something that has to be looked at.
Following up on Ernest's tip, detectives asked Keith to come down to the station for questioning.
The question that they was asking was like, when the last time you been around your ex-wife? And I was like, I didn't bring any type of harm to her.
He said there was a simple explanation for why he asked Ernest for the kids.
We have an agreement through our divorce. If one of the other parent is not here and say you find out what's going on, the children have to go with the other parent.
Look, I know my rights. Those are my kids, not his.
But does that mean Keith did nothing wrong?
This pre-existing agreement could have strengthened his motive to want to get rid of Wanda.
Detectives hope that her cell phone can give them the answer.
Detectives subpoena her cell phone records.
They do a deep dive into these records to get a little more understanding of Wanda's steps the night of her disappearance.
Wanda's cell phone data showed that she did arrive home at 1:20 a.m., just as Tyrone had told the detectives.
But she wasn't home for long.
A couple of hours later, the GPS shows that she leaves again. Her phone started moving away from the home again at around 4 a.m.
Both Ernest and Tyrone's stories might be correct. You know, Tyrone said she was home at 1:20, and Ernest said she may have left before he woke up at 6 a.m. And clearly, the GPS shows that she left at 4 a.m.
The GPS track leads west out of Fort Lauderdale towards the Everglades.
Her phone stopped in a rural area about 4:33 a.m.
GPS shows that her phone is there for a little while, maybe about 20 minutes, and then it shows that it leaves and goes to a different secluded area.
The phone stays in that location until the battery ends up dying at around 1 o'clock in the morning on November 7th.
Police, retracing Wanda's steps, head out to the place where her phone was at 4:33 in the morning.
It turns out to be a large and well-secured construction site.
There are surveillance cameras everywhere around this construction site.
The owners did not want anyone coming out there stealing their equipment.
But could the cameras also tell the detectives something about Wanda's disappearance?
Police get a subpoena for the surveillance video.
When they view the footage from that particular morning, they see a white pickup truck pull in and then just sit there.
Until, after about 15 minutes, a Florida Wildlife Commission officer pulls up behind the pickup.
The Florida Wildlife Commission officer actually gets out of the car.
The wildlife conservation guy has a conversation with the guy in the white pickup truck. That's all documented on film.
Then they both leave the area.
The white pickup truck heads out, heading in the same direction, the same route that Wanda's phone is, according to the GPS records.
Detectives reach out to the Florida Wildlife Conservation and are eventually able to locate the officer in the video.
When they asked him to come in and talk to them, the wildlife officer said that he approached the truck on a suspicion of illegal dumping.
He says that he assumed that that is what this gentleman was doing because he saw 3 large garbage bags in the bed of the truck.
He actually took a picture of the bags in the back of the truck.
Then he let the man off with a warning.
The dumpsters here, they're for construction debris only.
He had a conversation with the gentleman about illegal dumping. The gentleman stated that that's not the reason he was there. He said he only came out there to clear his head because he had some things on his mind.
And based on what detectives learn next from the wildlife officer, they suspect that what the man had on his mind was murder.
All right. Drive safe.
Thank you, sir.
The driver was Ernest Gordon.
Detectives investigating Wanda Gordon's disappearance have traced her husband Ernest to the same location as Wanda's cell phone at 4:30 on the morning she disappeared.
They have an eyewitness that puts Ernest at the scene, but Ernest told detectives that he was home sleeping all night long.
The lie isn't all that makes Ernest the prime suspect in what police now believe is a homicide.
The location where a wildlife officer approached Ernest was on the edge of the Everglades.
Unfortunately, at this point, the police are no longer looking for a missing person. They're actually looking for Wanda's body.
And detectives have a pretty good idea where they'll find it, too.
They had the GPS information from Wanda's phone.
The last known location of the cell phone before it died was a very swampy, wooded area in Tamarack, Florida.
Despite the difficult terrain, the searchers soon find something.
They find a black cell phone. They find several articles of clothing. They find red and black dreadlocks that actually match the dreadlocks that Wanda used to wear in her hair.
They also note an odor foul enough to pierce the pungent Everglades air.
Looks like there's probably something in there.
Kind of looking, I didn't want to
See how you have a lot of that decomp stuff around there?
You could possibly smell the decomp depending on how long she's been out there.
Tracing the odor to its source, the searchers start to uncover human remains.
It's one of two, the other one's over here.
Eventually, the gruesome search yields more remains.
They actually found a human jawbone and a skull.
The detectives assume they found Wanda, but the autopsy is unable to confirm it.
Just looking at the skull and at the jawbone, the medical examiner thinks that they belong to a female. But unfortunately, there's so much decay that they can't say for certain that these are Wanda's remains.
Whoever she was, the autopsy revealed how she died.
The medical examiner discovered a large fracture on the side of the skull and determined that this was the fatal wound.
However, before they can charge Ernest with murder, detectives will have to confirm that the remains are Wanda's.
They had to secure DNA from Wanda's daughter.
However, the results would take some time to find out if there was a match.
While they wait, the detectives attempt to put Ernest closer to the location where they found the remains.
They contact the Tamarack Police Department and they ask them if they can review traffic cameras.
Since it was deep in the swamp, there weren't any cameras in the close proximity where the police found the remains. But there were several in the broader vicinity.
Wouldn't you know it, right there, on tape, about 5 miles from the dump site, there's Ernest's truck, captured on camera.
However, there is one thing the camera doesn't capture.
The garbage bags are no longer in the back of Ernest's truck.
It looked like Ernest was engaged in a little illegal dumping after all.
To strengthen the evidence further, detectives also subpoena Ernest's cell phone records.
Police take a look now into Ernest's GPS to see if they can trace his movement to that particular location.
During the time that Wanda's phone was moving, Ernest's phone was not moving. In fact, his phone was still at the house.
They figured that he deliberately left his cell phone home to throw off the investigation.
However, the records also reveal that on the following night, Ernest neglected to leave his phone behind.
Ernest had traveled to the exact location where the remains were found at 11 o'clock that night on November the 5th.
Was he checking to make sure that the body was not visible, was not in plain sight?
For him to go back to that location showed that he knew where she was at. It showed that he was involved.
With proof putting Ernest at the location where the body was found, the detectives bring him in for another round of questioning.
We just want to go over your movements on November 4th and 5th.
Okay, but I already told you guys everything.
Everything?
But then he remembers something he hadn't told them.
When they asked him about the Florida Wildlife Commissioner stopping him that evening, he stated that he had forgot that he had gone out.
He claimed that he was just driving around to clear his head.
Then he said he went straight home.
You didn't stop and throw anything away?
What do you mean?
According to the wildlife officer, you had some garbage bags in the back of your truck.
He's got an answer for that, too. He says, oh, those bags were from some landscaping I had done.
He said he threw them out a few days later.
You sure about that?
The police keep putting pressure on Ernest.
Officers informed him that his pickup truck had been caught on a traffic camera.
And eventually, Ernest starts to crack.
I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know where.
When detectives confront Ernest Gordon about the suspicious drive he took to the Everglades the night his wife Wanda disappeared, they believe his response is telling.
He breaks down, he's devastated, he's crying.
But Ernest's tears aren't followed by a confession.
I don't know what happened. Look, I don't know anything.
In spite of all of this evidence that they are presenting before him, he maintains that he does not know what happened to Wanda.
He didn't admit that he killed her. He didn't deny it. He basically just had no explanation.
Instead, he stops the interview and asks for an attorney.
I want a lawyer.
They say, is it because you had something to do with your wife's disappearance or death? He refuses to answer.
Detectives are sure they found Wanda's killer. All they lack is proof that they found her.
The remains, the skull and the jawbone, haven't been identified yet.
They have no confirmation as to who that body was, so they had to let Ernest go.
But even as Ernest walks, the detectives keep digging.
Officers have enough evidence to get a search warrant for the Gordon's home and also for Ernest's white pickup truck.
They searched both using a chemical called luminol, which reacts with blood under black light.
They find blood. Lots of blood in Wanda's bedroom.
The luminol test also finds blood in the back of Ernest's pickup.
It revealed traces of blood in the same area where those 3 trash bags were located, on the back of Ernest's truck.
Between the blood, cell phone records, and other evidence, the detectives develop a clear picture of how the crime most likely occurred.
They had a theory that Ernest was actually up waiting for Wanda to come home, knowing that she had been out on a date.
Wanda returned home from her date around 1:20 in the morning, and Ernest was waiting. And Ernest was mad.
Stop! I know what you've been doing. This is your business. What I'm doing. I'm not gonna tell you.
They got into an argument over either the divorce or the infidelity, her moving on and going out and dating other people.
He was not able to handle the fact that she was out seeing other people.
So, the situation escalated.
Don't you walk away from me!
Ernest had lost control. Not just in the heat of the moment, he lost control over how Wanda saw him when the infidelity happened.
And desperate to regain it, he lashed out.
Ernest must have picked up a blunt, heavy object and hit Wanda.
He hit her on the side of the head, which was fatal.
Once he realized what he did and that she was dead, he tried to cover it up.
And now all detectives need is the one piece of evidence to tie everything together. Wanda's DNA.
On December 9th, the results are in, and it shows conclusively that the remains found in the swamp are those, unfortunately, of Wanda Gordon.
An arrest warrant was issued for Ernest. He was taken into custody the very next day.
He's charged with second-degree murder.
As a trial date approaches, Ernest faces reality.
His lawyer came to me and told me out front that he doesn't want to go to trial. The agreement was that in return for a guilty plea, he would be sentenced to 50 years in Florida State Prison.